Assalamualaikum class. Today we are going to discuss chapter 22, project financing. So the basically the concept of musharaka and mudaraba is based on some basic principles. ठीक है, कुछ basic principles हैं. अगर इनको follow कर लिया जाए तो वो contract जो होगा वो musharaka और mudaraba का ही होगा. As long as these principles are fully complied with and the details of their application may vary from time to time. Let us have a look on these principles first. ठीक है, हम ये principles देख लेते हैं, then इसके ऊपर project financing के ऊपर आगे आते हैं. So basic principles of Musharaka and Mudarba for project financing. Financing through Musharaka and Mudarba does not mean that advancing of money की इसके अंदर को पैसे advance किए जा रहे हैं. It means participation in business and in the case of Musharaka, sharing in the assets of the business to the extent of the ratio of financing कि उसने business के assets के अंदर उतनी financing कर दी है. ठीक है, ये कोई पैसे देने वाली बात नहीं कि लोन दिया गया. An investor or financier must share the loss incurred by the business to the extent of his financing. तो definitely जो उसको loss होगा उसकी financing के proportion के हिसाब से उसको दिया जाएगा. Then the partners are at liberty to determine with mutual consent the ratio of profit allocated to each one of them. ठीक है, तो पार्टनर म्यूचुअली कंसेंट के साथ ये डिसाइड करते हैं कितना प्रॉफिट एक उनमें से किसी एक पार्टनर को मिलेगा. which may differ from the ratio of investment, कि जो इन्वेस्टमेंट के रेशियो से डिफरेंट भी हो सकता है. However, the partner who has expressly excluded himself from the responsibility of work for the business cannot claim more than the ratio of his investment. तो जो कहे कि मैं काम नहीं करूंगा बिजनेस में, वो अपनी रेशियो ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट से ज्यादा पैसे नहीं ले सकता, ये भी रूल है. The loss suffered by each partner must be exactly in the proportion of his investment. तो जो लॉस होगा वो exactly proportion of investment के हिसाब से ही उनको बांटा जाएगा. ये सारे रूल्स हम पहले भी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, इसलिए मैं इसकी डिटेल में नहीं जा रहा. Keeping view the basic principles project financing is discussed below. In the case of project financing, the traditional method of musharaka and mudarba can be easily adopted. If the financer wants to finance the whole project, the form of mudarba can come into operation. If investment comes from both sides, the form of musharaka can be adopted. In this case, if the management is the sole responsibility of one party, while the investment comes from both or a combination of musharaka and mudarba can be brought into play according to the rules already discussed, जो हमने पिछले चैप्टर में भी डिस्कस कर लिए हैं. Since musharaka or mudarba would have been affected from the very inception of the project, no problem with regard to the valuation of capital should arise. Similarly, the distribution of profits according to the normal accounting standards should not be difficult. However, if the financier wants to withdraw from the musharaka while the other party wants to continue the business, the latter can purchase the share of the former at an agreed price. In this way, the financier may get back the amount of his investment he has invested along with the profit if the business has earned a profit. The basis for determining the price of his share shall be discussed in the details in later chapters. जो आगे हम वर्किंग कैपिटल की फाइनेंसिंग करेंगे उसके अंदर हम इसको डिस्कस कर लेंगे. On the other hand, the businessman can continue with his project either on his own or by selling the first financer shares to someone other person who can substitute the first financer. तो उसकी जगह वो पैसे दे सकता हो. Since financial institutions do not normally want to remain partner of a specific project for good, they can sell their share to other partners of the project as mentioned earlier. If the sale of the share on the one-time basis is not feasible for the lack of liquidity in the project, the share of the financer can be divided into smaller units and each unit can be sold after a suitable interval. Where whenever a unit is sold, the share of the financer in the project is reduced to the extent, and when all the units are sold, the financer totally comes out of the project. Now, financing of single transaction, अगर कोई single transaction को finance करना पड़ता है तो मुशारका and मुदारबा can be used more easily for financing single transactions. Apart from fulfilling the day-to-day needs of small traders, these instruments can be employed to financing imports and exports as well. उसको भी finance किया जा सकता है. An importer can approach a financer for to finance him for the single transaction of import alone on the basis of musharka or mudarba. The bank can also use these instruments for import financing. If the letter of credit has been opened without any margin, the form of mudarba can be adopted, and if the LC is opened with some margin, the form of musharka or a combination of both will be relevant. After the imported goods are cleared from the port, their sale proceeds may be shared by the importer and the financier according to pre-agreed ratio. तो जो भी उसकी रेशो होगी उसके अकॉर्डिंग उसकी प्रोसीड्स वो शेयर कर ली जाएंगी. In this case, the ownership of the imported goods shall remain with the financier to the extent of the ratio of his investment. This musharaka can be restricted to an agreed term, and if the imported goods are not sold in the market up to the expiry of the term, the importer may himself purchase the share of the financier, making himself the sole owner of the goods. However, the sale in this case should take place at the market rate or at the price agreed between the parties on the date of sale, and not at a pre-agreed price at the time of entering into musharka. If the price is pre-agreed, the financier cannot compel the client or importer to purchase it. Similarly, musharka will be even easier in the case of export financing. The exporter has a specific order from abroad. The price at which the goods will be exported is well known beforehand, and the financier can easily calculate the exact the expected profit. He may finance him on the basis of musharka or mudarba and many other share and may share the amount of the export bill at a pre-agreed percentage. In order to secure himself from any negligence on the part of the exporter, the financier may put a condition that it will be the responsibility of the exporter to export the goods in full conformity with the conditions of the LC. In this case, if some discrepancies are found, the exporter alone shall be responsible and the financier shall be immune from any loss due to such discrepancies because it is caused by the negligence of the exporter. However, being a partner of the exporter, the financier will be liable to bear any loss which may be caused due to any reason other than the negligence or misconduct of the exporter. So that's it for today. We will discuss chapter 23, working capital financing, in the next lecture. Thank you, everyone.